Hey, this is SJ Talks in Life coming back at you. Guys, oh Lord. If I look like I'm out of it, jacked up, it's because I am. Somehow I didn't came down with an ear infection. Um, I have no idea how I got an ear infection. I know last week I had a cold, and they say sometimes you can get them after you got a cold. But this is only the second time in my life that I've had an ear infection. The first one was a fungus infection. Um, oh, I don't know. Let me know in the comment section if you guys ever had an ear infection. But it's a pain like you wouldn't believe. Um, I have to say, this is worse than my joint pain. My SI joint pain. I'm serious. And I never thought that I would say anything was worse than that. This ear, infected ear ache, pain is worse than my SI pain. Um, Man, over the last couple of days, I've been in so much pain. I got into, I just can't describe it. It's this ear, and my ear is clogged. My ear is plugged, and um, let me know in the comment section if you've ever had an ear infection. You know what I'm talking about. So I got into the doctor's office today because I called the nurse, and they were saying give it a little time. Take ibuprofen. I took ibuprofen. I put heat compress, cold compress on it, um, peroxide, triple antibiotic. None of that worked. And the pain just kept getting progressively worse. So this morning I called them and they got me in. And sure enough, the doctor looked right into my ear and said, "Yeah, you have a bad ear infection." Man, oh, this pain, it's not like it's a pain like you wouldn't believe. You would have to experience it to know what I'm talking about. And so if I look like I'm out of kind of fried, because she gave me some antibiotics and ibuprofen 800s. And I kid you not, like last night I could not sleep at all. I did not. I was in so much pain. I couldn't function. That's you're in a lot of pain when you can't function. I couldn't even do. Like I say I can't. I couldn't even muster enough concentration up to do a video. Yesterday. I couldn't focus. Um, I was so in so much pain. I couldn't sleep. It's like oh my god, this like right in here, this whole side right in here, it's hurting. It's a little better now because I took my med, but it still hurts. She said I won't be getting any relief from the antibiotics. That won't really start to kick in because I take two more tonight, and that won't start to really kick in until like tomorrow. She said. I said that ain't soon enough. I said that is not soon enough. So, Lord, I tell you, I wouldn't wish this on my worst enemy. I'm telling you guys. I, oh my God, you talking about some pain? And my ear got plugged up. Then it started draining. Don't know how. I think it's because up here in Michigan, the weather keeps changing. The weather keeps changing. It'll get warm, and then it'll get kind of warm. We had like that warm week. Was it last week or week before last? We had like a warm week, and then now it's super cold again. So anytime when there's a drastic weather climate change like that in the middle of winter, it can wreak havoc on your body. And Michigan is so. They say Michigan has bipolar weather. Ain't no joke. They sure do, because that kind of thing. Like, I heard in Texas right now, they're having ice storms in Texas. Well, that typically happens up here in Michigan around this time of year. They're getting what we typically get around this time of year. We usually get ice storms and things like that. We used to it. Um, we don't like it, but we used to it. And us Michiganders, we know how to drive on the ice. We know how to drive on the ice. We prepare for it ahead of time. Make sure we got good tires. If you're blessed enough to get a 4-wheel drive vehicle, and we pretty much prepare for it. I kid you not. One day I was in the city, next city, and when I left, we went over there. This was years ago. Me and the guys went over there to do some shopping and stuff. We went, it was fine. I decided to take the highway on the way back. I kid you not. There was a thin sheet of ice on the highway. A thin sheet of it was a sheet of, literally a sheet of ice. So I had to drive back home on the highway on a sheet of ice. Imagine driving on the freeway in your city or on the highway on a sheet of ice. I guess you guys that live up here or up north, the Midwest, you know what I'm talking about. I did some heavy praying that day. I did a lot of heavy praying that day. And thank God the cars around me act like they had some sense, and they were slowing down. Everybody was on the same page, slowing down and everything and taking it easy. And I tell you, I prayed all the way home. I said, "Oh my God." I I had to remain calm and not panic, because sometimes that's the worst thing you can do is panic. And I just prayed and I prayed, used common sense, took it easy, and we got home. It took a while for us to get here, but we got there. We got here. Like, oh my God. So I don't care how long it takes, as long as we get there safely. Oh my goodness. Just imagine this picture. Imagine driving on a freeway or a highway on the interstate on a sheet of ice. Yes. Picture that in your mind. If you live up here in the Midwest, you probably done already done it. So we know us Michiganders, down there in Texas, they ain't used to all that. They freak out. I don't even think they have the proper equipment like salt trucks. We got all the salt trucks and all that stuff up here, and plows, and you know, we got all that stuff up here. Um, I don't know if their infrastructure down there is even set up to where they even have all that. Um, so everything shuts down up there when it's icy out. Everything shuts down up here in Michigan. If we have an ice storm, they may shut down the schools, but everything else, come on to work. Oh Lord. I remember one time I had when I was doing home care, I had this client in a little country town, um, not far from, you know, a little small city, tiny, little tiny, little tiny city, not far from my city, a little tiny city, probably no more than about 7,000 people. A little small city. Um, I had a client in that city. I mean, I didn't have a client. The agency called me. I think what happened was, if my memory serves me correctly, the agency called me and said, "June, can you please go to this client?" And this client had like this condo over there, she had this condo and it was real nice. I kind of liked going there because it was real nice, and it was overnight. It was an overnight client, and she was kind of feisty. She was kind of feisty, um, but she needed somebody there with her overnight, and I kind of like going there because she lived in this condo. She owned the condo, and it was beautiful, just beautiful. And I just, I felt like I was like I could just go out there and just because all they basically needed, you didn't have to take her to the bathroom or anything like that. Just needed somebody to sit out there with her. Um, just basically needed somebody with her. So I loved going out there because I could chill in this beautiful condo she had. And but the agency called me one time and it was a blizzard. I kid you not. That was when I had my Buick. I was driving my Buick at the time. Buick Skylark I had. It was a Buick Skylark. They said, "We don't have anybody to go out here to this client. Could you please?" They practically begged me. The agency practically begged me, "Could you please go out there? We need somebody out there tonight. We don't have anybody out there." Me with my silly self miscalculated the weather. I said, you know what? Well, I might as well go make this money. I might as well get out. I said, somebody got to make the money. I might as well go out here and get it. I said, I might as well, somebody got to make the money. I might as well go out here and make the money. So, miscalculated the weather. I got in the car. I kid you not, it was a freaking blizzard. And when I say blizzard, it was a blizzard. The snow was coming down so hard I couldn't even see. I could barely see in front of me. Um, I couldn't see anything past my the front of my car. I'm just trying to give you guys a visual. I couldn't see anything past the front of my car. I kid you not. It was snowing that hard, and this road that I was on, that I take to go to this little small city have no lights. There's no lights out there. It's in the country. It's a long country road from my city to this little city. It's a straight shot. It's a country road, literally, and there is no lights at night, none. And oh my God, I didn't realize until I got out there in the midst of it that I made a huge mistake. I said, "Oh no, I should have never agreed to this." I had my cell phone on me, and I just prayed. I just prayed, and once again, I just prayed. Took my time, use common sense. Prayed, because if up here in Michigan, if you don't have common sense, this ain't the city. This ain't the place for you to live. You shouldn't. But Michigan, if you lack common sense in the wintertime and you're driving, you're gonna be in a world of trouble. So you got to have some sense about yourself when you're driving in Michigan in the wintertime. So I just used common sense to slow myself down. Literally slowed the car down to a crawl, almost to a crawl, and turned my brights on. Even though I could only see in the front of the car, I couldn't see past that. The snow was coming down just that hard, and this road was dark. No street lights. I didn't think I was ever going to get there. And I just prayed the whole time. I was like, "June, why did you agree to this? Why?" But it was no turning back. I was already out there. So it took me 45 minutes, but I got there. And he was like, "Oh, thank you so much, Jude. Oh, thank you so much." I'm like, I was glad that I could be of service, but good God Almighty. But God kept His hands on me. He protected me that night. He protected me. And so I prayed. He protected me. He got me back. He got me there. And of course, by the time the next morning came around, because it was overnight, I had to be there. I stayed overnight with her. It had quit snowing, but it was still quite a drive on the way back. But at least I said, hey, at least it's daylight. I can see out here. I couldn't see. I couldn't even see it. All I could see was the front of the car, and that was it. I couldn't see nothing else in front of me. So let me know in the comment section if you ever drove in a blizzard like that. I said, oh my God. In a blizzard out on a country road. Ain't no joke. But that's Michigan for you. And this winter we're having a kind of a mild winter, which is good. But the only problem with having a mild winter is that the weather it'll get warm, and then it'll get one week it'll be warm, and the next week it'll be super cold. And so when there's a drastic change like that, it can wreak havoc on your body. And sure enough, the doctor said that she's seen a lot of ear infections. She said, I've seen a lot of ear infections coming here this week. So I said, what's up with that? So maybe something in the water. I don't drink the water. I don't drink tap water. So let me know in the comment section, you guys ever had an ear infection? Oh my God. The pain is like you wouldn't believe. It's excruciating. Feels a little bit better now because I took my med and I was actually able to get some sleep. But that's why I look toe up from the flow up. But I thought I'd come on here and chit chat with you guys. Let you know what's going on with me. And I wanted to right quick talk about this Jason Whitlock blaming single mothers for the beating of the young man, the beating death of Tyree Nichols. Blaming single mothers. I'm so tired of black men blaming black single mothers for everything that goes on in the black community, as if we are able to reproduce ourselves and we live in the black community by ourselves. If we're single mothers, who is making us single mothers? For first of all, who is creating the single mothers? See, you can't blame one without the other. You talk about single mothers, but who is creating the single mothers? Who is making these single mothers? Is it or is it not black men? Black men are making the single mothers. So how can you talk about the single mothers or what's blame the single mothers for what's going down in the black community when y'all the one creating the single mothers? Why are there so many single mothers, black mothers in the black community? Why? Good question. Why? Why? Who's making us single mothers? It ain't the white men. It ain't the white men that's making us single mothers. It ain't the Hispanic men. It ain't the Asian men. It's the black men. The black men are creating the single mothers in the black community. So how can you blame us without putting the blame on the man? They're the one that's making the single mothers and walking away and not helping with the children, not teaching the boys the proper way to go. First of all, it had nothing to do with single mothers. Tyree didn't even have a single mother. She's his mother is married. So what the heck are you talking about? My guess is that he's assuming the cops, these black officers raised. He's assuming that they were all raised in single parent homes. I know where he's going with that. But who made them single mothers though? See, who made them single mothers? Where are the fathers? I'm always going to take you back to that question. Where are the fathers? Where are these fathers at the teaching these sons how, how to be a man, to teach them the right way to go? Where are the fathers? See, I'm always going to take you, when you say single mother, I'm going to take you back to that question. Where's the father? Where are the fathers to teaching these young boys and to lead them in the right direction? I'm getting so tired of black men blaming everything on single motherhood. He gonna fix his mouth to put everything on single mothers. And this had nothing to do with single mothers. It had nothing to do with single mothers. But he blames everything. He said when the community is ran by black single mothers. Okay, if that's an issue, then why don't you talk to your brothers about running the community then? Look, let me tell you something. If black single mothers are doing such a piss poor job, then why don't you guys raise the children? Why don't you guys come in and raise the children then? Y'all come in and do it right. If we're doing such a piss poor job, then why don't you guys come in and do it right? Why don't you guys come in and raise the children? You bellyache and you complain and you blame everything on a single mother. Okay, well, black men need to step it up again, and they need to raise the children. If we're not doing too good of a job, then you guys need to raise the children. You guys raise the children then. Why don't you guys do it? Show us how it should be done. Show us how to raise good, productive um, um, black children. Why don't you guys show us how it's done if we're doing such a terrible job at it? Or better yet, stick by your kids that you create with a woman. You marry that woman. If you don't, then you need to be a father to those kids. Try there first. Try being a father to your kids. Because you can't blame the women without blaming the men. You can't blame one without blaming the other. It goes hand in hand because it takes two people to make a baby. If there's single mothers, who's creating the single mothers? I'm getting so tired of black men saying that. But who's creating the single mothers? And how does that make you guys look? If everything is on our shoulders and everything is our fault that goes wrong in the black community, okay, well, how does that make y'all look as men? How do you think other races of men perceive you guys? How does that make y'all look? That brings reproach on the men. If the women and children are out of order in the community, it brings reproach on the men. It's always going to fall back on the men because the men are supposed to be the leaders in the community. It's always going to fall back on the men. The men are supposed to be the leaders. Every other race of men gets it. I don't know if some of these, and I say some brothers, because it's not all the brothers, because some brothers actually get it. It's these slow ones. It's these brothers that's slow. They slow. And they don't get it. And they're not connecting the dots. The men are supposed to be the leaders of the community. So whatever is dysfunctional in that community, it does fall back on the men. The men are supposed to be the leaders. Why aren't you helping? That's the question you need to be asking. Where are the fathers to these children? If these children are out here running rampant and wreaking havoc on the community, where are the fathers? Where are the fathers and the father figures teaching these young boys, lead them in the right directions? Instead of these ministers sitting up in these churches, taking everybody's money, ripping everybody off, misquoting scriptures. Tithing is not scriptural. It's in the old law. Misquoting scriptures and taking everybody's money. You know, that's the biggest hustle in the hood. Everybody know that's the biggest hustle in the hood. That is the biggest hustle in the hood. You know, get you a church and you know, and siping money out of everybody in the community, but not do anything to improve the community. Not try to mentor, take all the young men in the community that's fatherless in the black men in the church, mentor them, have mentorship programs. They should be running mentorship programs out of these churches in the black community to mentor these fatherless boys, try to lead them in the right direction. But they're so busy taking people's money. They're so busy ripping people off and tickling people's ears. They tickle your ears and they rip you off. They're so busy while they go home and go to a completely different neighborhood with their BMW and go live in their big house while you're still uh, trying to rub two nickels together, trying to figure out how you keep your lights on and pay your rent because you didn't give the pastor all your money. Think about it now. Where is our leaders in our community? Where's the leaders? Where's the leaders? Where's the fathers that's supposed to be teaching their sons to lead and go in the right direction? Everything can't be on the mothers. The mothers can only do so much. A lot of times, mothers are not all a lot. All black women are not sitting on the welfare system. They can't do that no more. A lot of black mothers are out here trying to work. Like I said, when I was raising my sons, there was times that they got into some mischief, and guess when they did it? They did it when I was at work. They got into the mischief when I was working. It was always when I was working. They starting to come back now and reveal different things to me that I had no idea that I knew nothing about. But they dared not tell me at the time. And guess while all this was taking place, guess where I was at? Work. Work. We are not our children's only influence. We are not our children's only influence. There's that street element in the hood. The mother and the father is not the only influence, but if there's a strong father figure, if there's a strong father figure in the home, that can make all the difference in the world. Remember the show Good Times? They lived in the projects, Cabrini Green projects in Chicago. I think that's where it was based. I mean, that's where. But when James Evans put his foot down, when the gang members tried to get JJ, he said, "Oh no." He put his foot down. He scared the bejeebies out of that one episode where that gang member tried to recruit JJ. I think it was. James put his foot down. He said, "Oh no, no, not today. Not here. You're not." He scared the bejeebies out of that guy. He scared him. It was a couple episodes where one was trying to recruit. I think one was trying to recruit Michael, and in one episode, one guy was trying to get JJ in, and James said, "Oh no, mm-mm, not on my watch." He put his foot down. So that's the difference. If you look at certain episodes on that show, it teaches us that because they had that strong father figure in the home, even though they were living in the projects, those kids walked a straight line. They didn't get involved in some of the things that the other young people did in the community because they had that strong father figure. And even after he died, and I hated when they killed James off the show. And even after they killed James off the show, he still had a strong impact on the family. He still had a very strong impact on the family, and they were still able to walk in the right direction. So that's powerful. You watch Good Times. Good Times is an excellent parable for that. Though because those children had a strong father figure. They had a strong father figure in the home. And it was a difference between them being in gangs, Michael and JJ being in a gang and staying in school. And Michael wanted to be a lawyer or something. He was a little militant activist and he wanted to be a lawyer. JJ was a artiste and they did beautiful art. So they was able to focus on their talents as opposed to running out and getting involved with the wrong crowd and getting into gangs and stuff because they had that strong father figure in the home. That's where it starts. If the child, a son has to know that he has a loving father that cares about him enough to lead him in the right direction. And it can be the difference between him being out there in them streets or or trying to go in the right direction. Now, if there is not a father in the home and there's a strong mother, strong spiritual mother, the children may halfway have a chance, but there's going to be a lot that's going to be lacking. So it makes all the difference in the world. So you can't blame one thing without blaming the other. You can't blame single mothers without looking at the fathers. Where are the fathers at? Where are the fathers in the community? Where are they? Why aren't they showing these leading these young boys in the right direction? Because they need guidance and they need guidance in all areas. They need guidance in all areas. My two sons turned out pretty good. The youngest son didn't have a father. His father wasn't there at all. And my oldest son, his father was, well, part time. He was half, yeah, not really there like he should be. Should have been. I did most of the raising. But, I did the best I could with God's help. And it turned out to be two fine young men. Now, is there something lacking? Yeah, I ain't going to sit here and lie to you. There is something lacking. But they turned out to be two fine young men. Because I had to have my stuff together. I had to have my stuff together and do a lot of talking, a lot of praying. And if the kids have a strong loving mother, then that makes a difference too. But if the mother is dysfunctional, there's no father, and the mother's dysfunctional, she's on drugs or whatever, out there in them streets. If the mother's for the streets and they don't have no father, then the kids don't hardly have a chance. But if if the mother is on the straight and narrow, even though there's no father, the kids might halfway stand a chance. So, yeah, that does make a difference as well. But at the end of the day, they need that father figure because even the children single children that come from single parent homes under the best situation is something that's going to be lacking because you got that street element. We we are not our children's only influence. You got that street element, and you could try to shield them from it all you want. They're still gonna be exposed to it in one way or the other. When they go to school, whatever, you know, situation like that. So, um, yeah, I resent that. I resent his comments. He needs to start holding black men accountable. Um, Plain and simple. Start holding black men accountable. Sorry that this video is too long, guys. Hit me up in the comment section. Let me know if you ever had an ear infection. You ever drove with a blizzard on a sheet of ice? And what are your thoughts about Jason Whitmark blaming single mothers for these horrible cops that did what they did to Tyree Nichols? Okay, hit me up in the comment section and hit that like, subscribe, and share. And to the next video, be blessed.